Hello and welcome to the Morningstar series Why Should I Invest With You? I'm Emma Wall and I'm joined today by Ketan Patel, manager of the JP Morgan Smaller Companies Trust. Hi Ketan.
Hi, good afternoon.
So small and mid-cap has been a really great place to be over the last 4 years. I've been a beneficiary of it in my SIP, in fact. But all good things must come to an end. So I suppose the question is, how long can this rally continue?
Sure. Well, the outperformance of the small mid-cap company sector has been driven by two features, really. The first of which is the focus on the domestic economy. So the small and mid-cap sector is generating 50% of its revenues from the UK market, versus large cap peers that are generating almost 70% of their revenues from the overseas market. So the continual revival we've seen in the UK economy has benefited those parts of the market disproportionately, I guess. The second key area is the lower exposure to some very weak areas of the market, such as oil and gas and mining. As you know, the large cap stocks are very heavily focused to these areas of the market. They've been weak on the back of some very weak commodity prices. And again, that's driven the underperformance of large cap versus small and mid cap stocks. Looking out to the longer term, if you look back at some of the NUMIS data going back to the 1950s, while small and mid cap stocks don't outperform in every single year, they do tend to outperform in 2 out of every 3 years, which is a considerable number. So, and that, I think, in part is driven by their ability to be more nimble when conditions change and more niche and growth focused. And that leads to probably outperformance continuing into the longer term, I suspect.
So you've mentioned there that the UK economic health is linked to the sort of performance of small and mid caps, and we look to be in quite a good place with the UK economy. I suppose the only cloud on the horizon is June the 23rd, where we'll be having a referendum on whether we stay in the EU or vote to go out. As a UK small and mid cap investor, how do things like that affect your investment decisions?
Absolutely, that is the key challenge we're looking at this year. In fact, it's already caused considerable market volatility, and that's due to the uncertainty, firstly, around the results and also the potential implications should we vote to leave. And obviously, the small and mid-cap sector, having a higher domestic bias, has been impacted more than the large-cap stocks. Now, we're doing a lot of work, background work, looking at the potential implications, so considering things like high cost of sourcing of goods, particularly when sourced in dollars, things like higher cost of labour, maybe for those sectors exposed to foreign workers should immigration curbs come in, or even things like foreign denominated debt, which is set against domestic revenues, could be an issue. However, the polls and the betting companies still suggest we're going to remain within the EU, therefore we haven't made any changes as yet. However, the increased volatility also provides some opportunities, and a lot of stocks also get caught up in the noise around the EU vote and the potential implications. And that creates mispricing opportunities as well. And we've managed to benefit in some instances, and we're focusing on obviously attractively valued companies, high cash flow generation, good balance sheets with exciting growth prospects. And I suspect as volatility continues, we'll find more of these opportunities.
That sounds a bit like you're sector agnostic. You're just looking there for those sort of underlying things within a balance sheet. Is that fair to say that's actually where you're looking for opportunities, is less about what the company is and does, it's more about what its figures look like?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. So we are completely sector agnostic. We'll consider investments in each and every sector. And obviously there'll be sectors which are more attractive at any one point, but that's very much driven by the bottom-up stock selection and, as I say, a focus on the actual earnings and what they're delivering rather than the story behind it.
Ketan, thank you very much.
Thank you.
This is Emma Wall for Morningstar. Thank you for watching.